I started playing World of Warcraft on New Year's Eve of 2004. That night marked the beginning of a 15-year relationship with World of Warcraft, but it wasn't a perfect relationship. There were times when I pretty much only worked and played WoW, which were fun for me, but my friends and family were less than pleased. And then there were the times that WoW lost my attention, when I chose to betray Azeroth and its people for the shiny allure of other games.
That's my girl.
We all remember Warlords of Draenor, right? No! Go away. Then came Legion, and I was hooked again. It was Wrath 2.0. All my favorites were back. The Lich King, well, a Lich King. Illidan, there were awesome storylines tailored for each spec within each class. Artifact weapons like the Reforged Frostmourne and the Ashbringer. Class mounts, etc. Legion was awesome, but then came Battle for Azeroth. No! Get out of here, homely Sylvanas. Yeah, that's better, but still, go away. We're over you. But seriously, I love the theme. Lovecraftian old gods, creepy cults, wicked witches, and nautical fun, but the end game was just not there. Same with Shadowlands, the current expansion. The concept is so cool, but, well, this is actually a perfect place to start the list, which I promised in the title. So here is the first of 5 reasons I'm leaving WoW for Final Fantasy XIV. Number 1, story. Let me preface this point by reminding you of the passion in my voice when I talked about Legion. It's not that WoW doesn't have characters and plot lines that are cool or even epic, but there's something about the story in Final Fantasy XIV that draws me in on a more emotional level. In WoW, I feel powerful and I feel helpful, but really, I feel like a nameless, powerful, helpful hero who's along for the ride as Anduin, Jaina, Thrall, Khadgar, and the gang fell world-ending threat after world-ending threat. The main reason Legion was cool was that it mitigated some of that sentiment by focusing on your character becoming the most powerful and legendary member of your class, even letting you have the weapon to prove it. But that feeling that I kind of just helped out the more important heroes who are vastly more powerful than me never really left. In 14, I am the Warrior of Light, a title that will hold some pretty strong nostalgia for anyone who has been playing Final Fantasy games as long as I have, which is since the original Nintendo Entertainment System and Final Fantasy I. Yeah, it was really smart for Square Enix to bring back that title for this game, because I know I'm not alone in my emotional tie to it. But that's not where the nostalgia ends. There is so much more in the world of Eorzea for fans of the series. And I know that's got to be one of the reasons the story affects me as it does. Still, without all the feels from being an old school Final Fantasy guy, this game goes out of its way to program into our psyches that the people we know in the game world, they care about us. I recently experienced a cutscene where a nobleman invited me over for dinner so we could catch up after a long and difficult time, trying to reunite the peoples of his kingdom and make peace with the longtime rival kingdom. And that's it. The cutscene was just us having dinner. Him asking me what my plans are after all the dust is settled. Sure, the scene did end with a knight entering to inform us that the Warrior of Light, that's me, was needed urgently, but the majority of the cutscene was just talking local politics and joking about Moogles. The knight emerging at the end of the scene is the perfect example of something else that makes the Final Fantasy XIV story impactful and addicting. See, even though you'll never hear your characters speak, you get the sense that your words carry with them the weight of a wise warrior who has bested demons and gods and emerged with barely a scratch. Everything in the main story quest points to the fact that you are wise beyond your years and possessed of experience which is unique to you, which should be drawn upon in dire situations. When there's a problem, your character doesn't track down the Final Fantasy XIV version of Khadgar or Bane Bloodhoof to get counsel. Those other characters, they come to you. They ask you what you think the best course of action may be, and then they act on it. Actually, more often than not, you act on it. But you're not just a coveted advisor. No, you're also the most powerful hero alive. When there's a god that needs killing, you don't talk to Final Fantasy XIV's Illidan or Malfurion or Thrall. Those other characters remind you that you are probably the only one who can do it. So you'd better get to stepping. Else we may be looking at the end of the world. Again. In summary, the story in Final Fantasy XIV, though long and filled with lengthy cutscenes, is awesome and worthy of your time, making it reason one that I'm leaving WoW for Final Fantasy XIV. But hey, I promised a con for this pro, so here it is. If you don't care about story, and you really don't want to watch hours upon hours of cutscenes, one of which is just you having dinner with an Elzen Lord, then maybe Final Fantasy XIV isn't for you. If you really just want to quickly make for max level, which is at the time of recording level 80, so you can experience the end game of intense raiding and min-maxing your character, or the true end game, which I'm told is Glamour, it's Final Fantasy XIV's version of Transmog, well, you have hundreds of hours before you get there. Or, well, you could just buy the story skips, which are available individually for the base game and the first 2 expansions. There's always that. Bet you're kicking yourself for not thinking of the story skips, aren't you, you dingus? Well, that's part 1 of 5 in this series. The pros and cons of leaving WoW for Final Fantasy XIV. Hint, the cons are pros too. This is Cal Jameson signing off.